welcome, a really warm welcome to our seminar. It's Accelerating Online TCG Growth Strategies for the Emerging Seller. My name is Megan. I'm the Director of Customer Success at TCG Player. It's been an honor and a privilege to be at TCG Player for almost 9 years. So many of you I know, for those of you who don't, I look forward to meeting you along the way, and we can keep growing together. So thank you so much for joining us. Today we're going to dive right into it. We are going to talk about 3 foundational keys to success. And again, these are not going to be rocket science for you. You're already aware that these things are important, but we're going to take a little bit of a deep dive into increasing your listings and mastering your pricing strategies and optimizing your order fulfillment. Many of these insights and best practices we are about to share, they've been gleaned through a new program called our Growth Acceleration Program. We call it GAP. This new program has been helping sellers like yourselves since August of 2023. GAP is a formal, optional, it's invitation only, and it's a learning program. It's been developed by the team that you see here. And it's all about providing tools, support, personalized guidance, and custom reporting to help you achieve significant growth in your business. And the best part is it is completely free. We just ask for your time and your commitment and your motivation. You got to lean in. You got to meet with our team. We want to meet with you. We want to truly understand what your business goals are, because this is pretty much a custom program. Not everyone is going to want the same thing, and it's all going to be a different path. So it's a choose your own adventure. And by nature of the fact that you're in these seats today, you're invited to our program. We would love to have you. The team has business cards up front here. When you leave, please grab one. You can enroll, you can book meetings, and we'd love to see you join us. Speaking of this team of experts, they have a massive trove of experience in the industry. They marinate in TCG Player tools and services every single day. They talk to sellers every single day. They've amassed thousands of hours. And again, talking to each seller, you're all unique in the way you run your businesses. But again, there are some really elemental things that we can help you as we review your workflows, your best practices, and what you want for successful outcomes. So we came here today to share what has worked for our GAP sellers. Oops, I forgot to bump the slide. Tips and tricks that we know have worked and have been successful. The sellers that have grown through our Growth Acceleration Program have seen almost 77% growth in their average daily sales, and that's significant. And it's an honor and a privilege to be part of that growth, and our sellers have absolutely loved it. So I'm thrilled to introduce this next speaker, D'Angelo Knowles, and he's going to tell us more about increasing your listings. Take it away, D.
How's it going today, guys? My name is D'Angelo Knowles. I will do a little introduction, right? So I started with the company 5 years ago in the warehouse, now authentication center. I played Yu-Gi-Oh! Since release. Currently play a lot of Edison format. I love sneakers and streetwear, and I'm a professional Colin Styles impersonator. Let's talk about increasing your listings. So what we're going to focus on is digitization and product expansion. What exactly is digitization? It's the process of efficiently listing your cards online, the key word being efficient. Efficiency matters because, like everything, it revolves around and impacts your bottom line, right? Your ability to, as a seller, capitalize on national trends through increasing your visibility to the online community directly affects your revenue and growth, right? It should come as no surprise that as you list more, you sell more, right? List more, sell more is a bar, and I love that line. So let's take that and turn it into a graph. Take a moment to look at this graph and look at the correlation between the biggest sellers on our platform and what they're actively listing. Sellers that are selling the most on the marketplace are by and far listing more inventory on the platform. So how are they doing this? How are they digitizing their inventory? One of the things that we focus on at GAP is we're figuring out where you're at on your seller journey and finding out the best method that works for you. So I'm going to ask for some audience participation here. If you've ever used the seller portal to just add a card, please raise your hand now. All right, I love that. Most of your hands are raised, and you should have, because some of you should have started out as a level 1 seller, so great. If you've ever used the import inventory functionality on the mobile app, please raise your hand. Very cool. If you've ever downloaded a CSV to upload your inventory, please raise your hand. Okay. If you've ever used TCG Player Pro's Quick List, please raise your hand. Cool. And if you have a Roka machine, please raise your hand. Nice, very cool. Yeah, so all of those are oriented by design. We're going to talk about the first three. The seller portal, the mobile app, and CSV manipulation are all free options to upload your inventory. The mobile app and the seller portal are really good for adding cards over large amounts of sets. CSVs are incredible for adding many cards from a single set. Find what suits you best, find any combination of those, and use those to freely for whatever your needs may be. Quick List is a low-cost option that's part of the Pro suite for digitizing cards. Pro has many other incredible applications that'll be spoken on later on in this presentation by Jan and Sam, so be on the lookout for how impactful this could be as part of a whole. At the seller gathering yesterday as well, we spoke about Quick List Plus, so please be on the lookout for any future updates that may make this option more valuable over time. Next, let's talk about the Roka machine. I love this thing because it looks like those old ice cream vending machines with like the little suction cup at like the mall, right? And someone just said, what if I just use this for a card, right? Sort, sift, alphabetize, free up your labor. The Roka machine syncs up with TCG Player's ecosystem incredibly well and allows you to import that data efficiently while saving on cost of labor. If you want to learn more about the Roka machine, there's a seminar on Wednesday at 11 in rooms 17 and 18 at the seller gathering last night. We debuted that Lorcana is being added to Roka functionality, increasing its value to you guys in the seller community as a whole. Now, for the other half of increasing your listings, expanding into other product lines. Let's say that you sell Magic. You have a lot of Magic knowledge. How much of that is transferable to Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Lorcana? The answer is a lot of it, right? Consider how branching off into new games could be beneficial to your growth and revenue. We publish on the seller blog the in-demand and understock reports for major and emerging card games, which is a great starting point to see what product for different games our buyers are looking for from you. Take it from me, diversity is always a good thing. Now that you have all these cards digitized and online, let me introduce my esteemed colleague Jan to help you understand how to price them.
Thank you. I don't know if I've ever been an esteemed colleague before. I appreciate that.
Today you are.
It means a lot. So, my name is Jan. I've been with TCG Player for around 6.5 years. I'm a classically trained cellist and pianist. I know the answer to the riddle of the Sphinx, but only because I learned it from an episode of Super Friends. And I live my life based on the lessons taught to me by the hit TV series Psych. So, that said, let's talk mastering your price. Prices in this industry are dynamic. They change very quickly. We've seen them change from day to day. I know you've seen them change from minute to minute pretty drastically as well. And to generate and sustain that sales momentum that grows your business, it's important to make sure that your pricing strategy adapts accordingly and keeps pace with the rate of these changes. So what do we have here? We've got a lot of different factors that go into pricing your inventory. We can't tell you specific numbers of what to price your inventory at. That depends a lot on you. But what we can help you do is identify those factors and help narrow down what is going to play into that decision. And I know a lot of this, looking at it here, right, seems pretty self-explanatory, but how many of you guys have looked on the marketplace and wondered, wow, how is anyone making a profit at that price? And see, what we try and do with Gap is help you find the price point that works for you and then make that available to you. So for instance, right, your cost of acquisition, making sure that you are paying less than you are selling things for. Pretty straightforward, right? But always good to keep in mind. Shipping, when we look at your inventory, do you have a lot of lower value inventory where it makes sense to add a shipping cost at the end of your on your account so that your inventory is kind of compensating that way? Or is it the reverse where you want to bake your shipping into the cost of your products to make it more available if you are selling larger value cards in lower quantities on a single order? And then labor, right? If you are, what is your actual cost in terms of taking a card out of your inventory, packaging up it in an envelope, and sending it off to ship on a per card basis? So we've got some math that we help you break that part down and then figure out, where to go from there. That helps you figure out that price floor, the price where you are actually starting to make money on a single card sale. And then if you're going to price below that price floor, let's figure out a strategy to make sure that you are making up the difference somewhere else. All right, so maintaining that price to keep track with the market, it's important. It's going to draw in your customers. It's going to help you move through more of your inventory and maximize that profitability. But if you look at the marketplace in this slide here, you'll see that each item has a pretty substantial range of pricing options. Where do we go? How do we choose what part of that range you're going to fall into? So in GAP, we tried to help answer the question, what is the highest I can price a card and still reasonably expect it to sell in 24 hours? And the way we did this was by creating the competitively priced metric. And we did that by identifying the lowest and highest price a single specific item sold for on a single day. We determined the percent difference between those two selling points. Then we did this for that item for every day in a 365-day period. On top of that, we then did this for every item on the marketplace. We batched those into those 3 price buckets you see above, and then calculated the percent differences, to get the numbers beside them in that target competitive price range. So what this is telling us is that there's a lot more wiggle room just up, beyond that general TCG player low to price your cards and still remain competitive within the marketplace. So for example, right, that $3 to $19.99 range, what this is telling us is that the target competitive price range is 11%. So basically you can price an item an additional 11% higher than the day's TCG player low and still have that reasonable expectation to sell it within 24 hours of that reprice. And this right here is a snapshot of some of the reporting that we're able to provide through the GAP sessions. I don't know exactly what seller it was from. It's probably not important. But what we try to do is we help in that same target competitive price range within. We help you figure out where in those price buckets your inventory scores. And then as we look at it, we help figure out how much of that you actually want to put within those brackets. So if you are falling outside of that competitive price range bucket, why? Maybe there's a good reason. So it's not a one-size-fits-all. We're not saying price absolutely within this, but figure out how much of that works for you. Figure out how much of that you want to actually utilize. All right, so now we've gone over pricing, how to evaluate it, what to evaluate it against. Now you actually have to go in and update those prices. But this is going to get more difficult as your inventory expands, especially if you've listened to my esteemed colleague, D'Angelo, and followed some of that guidance on digitizing inventory. So we got a couple different options. First is our CSVs, your spreadsheets, like D'Angelo outlined. That's free. It's available to all level 4 and above sellers. It's nice. You can get pretty granular with it, especially if you've got that Excel and spreadsheet savvy. You can write those formulas that take different columns into account. But what if you're not super savvy with Excel? Then in that case, we've got MassPrice, which is a tool from TCG Player Pro. And MassPrice is really good because you can get that granularity without necessarily having that same spreadsheet expertise. You can have multiple different rules for different sections of your inventory, and then have each of those have a subset of rules to run at different times or different price points or different percentages. I've worked with some sellers who have anything from 5 to 15 different automated rules that'll run on a schedule, on a daily schedule, and then intersperse that with some additional rules that they run based on specific events that they want to do in store or different things that they want to take advantage of online. MassPrice is really easy to use once you know how, but it's not always the easiest thing to get a hang of, and that's why we are here. GAP program is there, and we really want to help get you set up with that. Finally, we've got Binder POS. Anybody know Binder POS? Yeah, we got some people. So Binder POS is our point of sale and inventory management solution. It was designed specifically for game stores and hobby shops. It's great. It's got that automatic pricing and update. It's going to run twice a day and make sure your inventory is always up to date with current market trends. So now that you've digitized and added some new inventory, you price it to maximize that sweet spot between velocity and profitability. Now you've got a lot more orders coming in. So how are you going to just handle the influx of orders? Let's talk a little bit more about that. Let me introduce my esteemed colleague, Sam Clement.
All right. Home stretch of the presentation. You still with us? All right. Excellent. So my name's Sam Clement. I've been here at TCG Player since 2021. Before that, I worked in higher education. And before that, I was a full-time musician. My favorite commander deck that I own is my Thassa deck because I'm from Maine. I love the ocean. I grew up on the ocean. And so I love my blue deck. So you've got your inventory loaded. You've got it priced. Now it's time for fulfillment. So fulfillment is essentially the process from sale to delivery. Optimizing order fulfillment is essential to growing your business. The last thing you want to be doing is spending too much time searching through an inefficient inventory system. Looking for cards when there's a better system out there for you. So when you optimize your fulfillment process, you save cost, you reduce errors, you increase labor efficiency, and you maintain accurate inventory. When you organize your inventory for efficiency, we've talked a lot about efficiency today, you ensure your fulfillment process is scalable for growth. While organizing by color might work for you early on, as you grow, it might become less and less efficient. The best, yeah. So, and I like to say, we work with everybody on the inventory management system. The best way to organize your inventory is the way that works best for you. That being said, one method that we suggest is to mirror the way we do things at TCG Player, where we efficiently move millions of cards. So, what we do is we arrange cabinets left to right, top to bottom. We split inventory by condition. We sort by set in reverse chronological order, meaning new is set first. And then we sort the cards within each set alphabetically. So, fulfillment solutions. The solution that we offer is Direct by TCG Player. TCG Player Direct handles fulfillment, verification, shipping, and customer service. I want to really highlight that customer service piece because I think sometimes that gets overlooked. And I see some heads nods out there. If you don't have to do the customer service, that saves you time and headaches. We do all that for you with Direct. So that can be a big one. You get increased visibility for your listings, leading to a significant boost in sales. And we find orders typically triple or more. And I'll talk about that in a little bit after joining Direct. So Direct aims to save time, but also increase sales. And not only can Direct be a good experience for sellers, a great experience for sellers, but it can also, I know Direct as a buyer for me before I joined TCG Player was one of the reasons I got back into buying Magic cards was I have friends who said, oh, you got to order this way, I get it Direct. I got that package and I was like, man, this is like the coolest little package of Magic cards I've ever got. It just looked cool, felt cool. So it's a good experience for buyers as well. Is it right for you? So Direct is a great option for sellers, but one of the things we talk about in these growth acceleration meetings is if it's something you're ready for, and if not, how to get you there if that's something you want to do. So how does Direct work? Well, when you sign up for Direct, all of your Direct eligible inventory, meaning cards that you already have listed that are in the Direct program, meaning cards we have in stock that we can send out on your behalf, all of those are automatically turned into Direct listings for you. And then when a buyer purchases one of those listings, we ship out that card on your behalf. Again, we handle the customer service, that positive feedback gets sent right to your account. And then after either $300 or 2 weeks, you get a reimbursement invoice. So we say, here are the cards that we sent on your behalf. You send those cards back to us, rinse, repeat. That's Direct. Had some pretty funny examples of sellers telling me what Direct is, and it was like, yeah, you put it on the pigeon goes out, and then it's like, no, that's definitely not what Direct is, but that's why we like to, explain it a little bit here. So, sales growth with Direct by TCG Player. Many of our top sellers are Direct partners and see significant increases in sales. 185% is the average sales growth a seller realizes in Direct over the first 90 days. 185% is kind of crazy, but that is the power of Direct. I've had a number of sellers that I've worked with recently sign up for Direct, and in their first 24 hours, they had over 1,000 sales. Fortunately, one of the, I'll keep harping on this, one of the many things we talk about is getting ready for things like that so that our gap sellers aren't surprised. And so I think back to one who signed up, he emailed me after day one, Sam, look at my orders. And he had like 9 regular orders because you'll get non-direct orders still. But then he had pages of direct orders. And I was like, are you cool? He's like, yeah, we talked about it. We're cool. I'm all good. I can pull those cards. This is awesome. And so it's something that can happen, and we really try to help if that does happen, so that you're good with that. That's something you want to do, and it's something you can handle when it comes in. But it can be a huge, huge boost. So you've probably seen this quote from Adam from the Gaming Co., but I think direct is the right decision for 99% of stores. The big thing about direct is you get lots of orders really quickly for a lot of cards. 1,000 orders in 24 hours. Again, that's an example, but that really backs that up. Also, I will say, had many stores that worked with, I'm sure these guys can attest to this as well. Many stores sign up for direct who are businesses of all different shapes and sizes. There isn't one seller that's perfect for direct. I've had small little one-person operations sign up for direct and have it work. I've had huge LGSs sign up for direct and have it work. And everywhere in between. So it really depends on your specific business model. It really depends on you. And speaking of you, we've had a number of success stories already with the Growth Acceleration Program. We'd like to highlight a couple here. One that I want to highlight is Loizen City Games. This is Lucas Loizen from Pennsylvania, one-person operation. So you can see the graph there. Lucas started, as I said, one-person operation. He was working a full-time job. He was having trouble balancing his full-time job with managing his card prices manually, with listing cards, just having the time to list cards manually, one by one. And so he had a great business mind, but just didn't have the tools, didn't have the time, didn't have what he needed. So we worked together. Lucas ended up signing up for Pro pretty early on. He started using Quick List to list cards. His listings went up 2,000% because he could list them much easier than going one by one without something like that for him. He also, within Pro, as Jan spoke about, used the mass price to automate all of his prices. So now he didn't have to go in manually and adjust all his prices so his prices were relevant to the market, and he saved all that time from having to do it himself because he was doing it, trying to do it all the time. We also, through our meetings, decided that Direct was a good option for Lucas, so he ended up joining Direct. The growth in Direct, the minute he went into Direct, was wild. And he was using Direct along with Mass Price, along with those Pro Tools, to have Direct rules run and affect his Direct prices. It was awesome to watch. And I have a lot of these memories, we all do, of those special meetings you have. And I know for Lucas, it was the meeting where I started up the call and said, "Any updates, Lucas? What's been going on? What's new?" And he said, "Well, I got to leave my job yesterday and just do this full time." And he is still thriving. We just had a check-in call with him recently. But that, these numbers are great. The data is awesome. All that's great. But the warm, fuzzy stories and, affecting livelihoods is like kind of the heart of this work. I know it's why we enjoy it so much. We have so many of these stories, so many of these, again, these little warm, fuzzy things that really, really affect people's lives. So we know it's greater than just this stuff, but when they work together, that's when they really thrive. So that's Loizen City Games. Jan, I know you have a brick and mortar store that you want to highlight. Yeah. So come on up and do that.
Thanks, man. My esteemed colleague, everybody.
My esteemed colleague.
So yeah, I worked with Hollowhaven and Elijah. Are you guys here? Yeah, there they are.
Hey!
So yeah, Hollowhaven, they are a brick and mortar store that opened in February of 2023. So just celebrated their 1-year anniversary, which is very cool. And yeah. So I worked with Elijah during a 3-month period between around August and November of this past year. And during that time, they onboarded into both Find Your POS and TCG Player Direct. And as you can see here, they experienced some massive growth. That is not a typo. That says 550%. And I really enjoyed personally working with Elijah because we found ourselves aligned on just so many different things as we were working together. After our first meeting, it became immediately clear what his goals were for his store and what he was hoping to get out of this program. And what that was to really drive online success and then turn that around to reinvest further in his store and his local community. And one thing that really stands out, Elijah, like I think our second or third meeting, you actually told me you were super excited. You ran out of chairs for your shop. There was no more space to run anything. And we talk about a lot of the things we do, but you did the hard work and implemented a lot of these different strategies and tactics and ideas, and you ended up driving this build out on the second floor of your building, renovated that into an upstairs tournament space, RPG room, and actually you then brought in additional staff, expanded some hours, 7 days a week now to increase that online orders, online presence, and then drive that to help fund and profit for their local community. We actually just talked the other night, right? You guys are looking to buy another building next door. So, pretty cool. Within the first real year of being open, within, 3 months after, our sessions ended, it's just fantastic to see. Like Sam said, this is the stuff that drives us on a daily basis to kind of keep coming back here. So let's do some wrap up. Loyson City Games, Hollow Haven, just two of the stores that we've worked with that have achieved some excellent success through our collaboration via GAP. And I know today we've covered a lot of different ground in not a lot of time, and we breezed through some things. So there's definitely a lot more we can dive into. So if you guys have some time while you're here this week, definitely stop by our booth. We are upstairs. We are looking forward to talking with you and saying hi. But if you're already booked solid, we've got a QR code here that you can scan and we can book virtually, or you can take any of our business cards and connect with us one-on-one, either here at GAMA or after things are over.